All right, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another week of fabulousness and connectivity. Really excited for today's guest. Today is Eddie Pham, and I'm going to bring him on right now so he can tell you all about who he is and what he does. Eddie, how are you?
Doing great. Doing really well.
I'm giggling because every single day, we were just talking about how like this is a technical journey for me, and every single day I do something a little bit wacky. So when you're going to look at the replay, you're going to see that I kept us live while the intro was playing. It's all good. It's just an intro.
Great.
It's
I'm glad
just
to be part of the intro.
yeah, exactly. So now you're part of the intro. You're officially part of the intro. But let people know, who you are and what you do.
Sure. I'm Eddie Pham. I live in Washington, D.C. I have an event planning company called Impact Collective. We do a lot of weddings and corporate events and big charity fundraisers. But also, we have a nonprofit foundation called Meant to Live Foundation, which runs parallel to Impact. And that's where we actually utilize a lot of resources from the event industry to help feed the poor and raise people out of impoverished situations, both in DC and abroad.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people don't necessarily understand that component of Meant to Live, is that they see the work that you do abroad, and they think that that's all your organization
Mm,
is about. But really, you do a lot of things that are, homegrown assistance. Like you've done festivals and things here that
mm.
benefit people here. So, how do you connect with those communities? Like, is it something that like you're personally connected to? Because I know, like in Africa, you have like that personal connection to that particular location, that particular group of people. But is it sort of like that personal connection for you, or do people bring you like, hey, Eddie, check this out? This is a group and they really need help, and how do you get there?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, we say in nonprofit, people give to people, they don't give to organizations.
Right.
So you're not going to go in the old-fashioned yellow pages or go on Google and search thousands of nonprofits and just click on them and make donations. It's usually very relational. It's when you hear a story or a testimony of someone that's was homeless and on the street, and because of certain services that were offered by a nonprofit or by a shelter or by an organization, now they're on their feet again and they're working and they have a life and they're married. So it's usually something that's very personal to someone else that kind of touches your heart. But I strongly believe in serving your own community as your probably the most important thing you can do. Like you said, we serve Zambia because my brother is a priest there, Father Abraham
Right.
Pham. He's been there for 15 years serving orphans and vulnerable children, over 2,000 kids he's actually taken care of. Mental Live Foundation raises the money, and then we wire 100% of all that money over to Zambia. Then he takes care of him and his wife, take care of the kids in 3 orphan schools in Zambia. So you're absolutely right when you say there's got to be a personal connection.
Yeah, because I think that there has to be a level of passion behind it. And certainly if there's one common thread that I've always seen in your business, whether that's from Impact Collective or Meant to Live, or now your work with World Central Kitchen, is that passion. Like you always carry that through. And just to kind of, take it back a little bit over to Impact Collective, that in and of itself is a very unique business model. There aren't a whole lot of people that do what you do, in terms of event planning and venue management and everything that you've got going on. So was there a plan behind that, or was it like you got into it a little bit and then you added a little bit more and then there was evolution in that brand? So how did that kind of get together for you?
Yeah, it was very organic, and you're right, it was an evolution. We always, in 2009, we started off as an event planning company,
Right.
and then in 2012, we're hired by the winery of Bull Run, which we still love those guys, and they're such
Right.
great friends of
And
ours.
that's how you and I met. We spent so many summer days
Yes,
hauling tables and getting all that stuff ready. It was a challenging venue, but it was a good
yeah.
time. It was a good time.
Definitely. We were learning as much as you were learning at the same
Yeah.
time. So, but having spent 6 years there managing their events and selling the events, and also having a lot to do with the marketing and the launch of the space, and just the rapid growth, it showed me
Yeah.
that there's some. I love that aspect, the venue management. So that took me. That brought me down to the Wharf, 2017. So I spent
Right.
2 years at Union Stage, which is a music venue in at the Wharf. I'm an investor of the venue, and I was running their event program there as well. And then on to my dream venue, Capital Turnaround in Navy Yard, which if you haven't seen it, you've got to see it. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, you were there. That's right. It's an old car barn turned into a modern event space. What did you think about it when we met?
It was a really unique venue. It was something that is kind of lacking in the DC market. I would say that it is very reminiscent of sort of your Brooklyn loft type of industrial venues, or something that you would find in those, in like a Brooklyn or like a deep into Chicago type of situation.
Hmm.
But it's still very distinctly DC.
Yeah,
So it's industrial. It has, absolutely that aesthetic. But it's in that big, it's in the Blue Castle. I know that you're planning on painting it, but if anybody, is local and is listening to
right.
the program, it's the Blue Castle. So, and that's distinctly DC, that neighborhood, and that venue. So I was really super excited. I was even more excited to possibly get to events in there this
Yeah,
fall.
yeah.
You and I haven't talked about that, but I mean, what's there to talk about, really?
Well,
We just have to kind of wait and see. That's what we have to talk about. It's like the wait and see.
yeah, we'll wait and see.
Yeah,
I still have your event on the calendar as a tentative, but you know,
perfect.
I'm just, for me, I have to go one day at a time, because it's too crazy. If you think about the whole concept of the pandemic and how it affects your business, how it affects our industry, it can be very overwhelming. I'm sure you've discovered that on a lot of your other interviews. It's
Yeah,
crazy. It's had a very negative effect on so many people, and I can see why. And I've had my moments too, believe me. But I think focusing on one day at a time, not too much like dwelling about is my October wedding or event going to happen or not. Just like remaining hopeful, but remaining positive, but just focusing on today. Not
yeah.
even thinking too much about tomorrow. Honestly, like focusing on matters at hand today.
Yeah, I mean, focus on what you can do,
Yeah.
and if what if you have kids at home and you've been laid off and you've got like a whole bunch of stuff going on, and what you can do is just get, the kids, fed and clothed and educated and food on the table and get through your day, then that's okay too. Everyone has a particular, boat that they're riding through this storm. And so certainly making sure that you're, taking care of the things that you need to take care of is important.
Absolutely.
And baby steps. Like, it doesn't have to be huge leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
But so how did you? I mean, but talking about leaps and bounds, because you already have, Impact Collective, you have Mental Health Foundation, and then you got, deep dive into World Central Kitchen, which of course we all know and love, run by Jose Andres, an amazing human being in the culinary world. If you don't know him, make sure you get to know him. Fabulous person. So what was your connection to that? Or did you just kind of look at the organization and say, like, you know what, this is something they're doing now and I can help now?
Well, we have a very deep connection with them through Mental Health Foundation because
Okay,
about 5 years ago, Jose generously donated a kitchen and bakery to our kids in Zambia.
fabulous.
It was absolutely. It was after the earthquake in Haiti, and he was starting to get around. It was in the beginning, really, of World Central Kitchen. Um, he spent some time there doing disaster relief in Haiti, and then we I coincidentally met with our executive director at the time, Brian McNair, who's a fabulous person, very supportive about Zambia too. And Brian went on a trip with his wife for his 50th birthday, and he went to Victoria Falls, and he made a pit stop in Zambia, saw the kids, spent time in the community, met with my brother,
Love it.
and said, World Central Kitchen's got to help. So They donated $60,000 to put up a bakery and kitchen to feed the children in one of our orphan schools, but also that we can make food there or make baked goods there to deliver to the other two orphan schools in Lusaka, which is the capital of Zambia. So
Okay.
that's how it started with Jose. It was just it was a great partnership there, and then we just kept the connection going over the years here in DC. And I'd always told their new executive director, Nate Mook, that I would be, look, just keep me in mind if you have something you need help with. And so, long story short, when this COVID thing happened and they moved into National Stadium, I live a mile away from there, so I could walk there or make a quick drive there. And so that enabled me to I spent about 3 days a week there at Nat Stadium. Out of 150 cities in America that World Central Kitchen is in, Nat Stadium is sort of the example. It is the one that produces the most meals. To date, our record is, I think a couple of days ago we hit 10,000 meals. It was like, I think
Wow.
Friday. Yeah, in one day. Like so it's cooked, packaged, and delivered in the same day, hot and fresh.
Well,
So
and what communities are you serving through the kitchen? I mean, obviously, so it's going to be, it's going to be local communities because it's all hot and fresh meals. And are those then transported out of the area, or do you have subgroups that come in and then take the meals to their groups?
excellent question, because logistically, you wouldn't believe it. Most people do come and pick it up. So MPD um, is like the number one. We feed the entire police department every day, and they
Fabulous.
come with their big paddy wagons, and they fill them up with the food, take them back to the station. We do homeless shelters, whether we deliver it or, believe it or not, we use Uber Eats
All right.
to come pick up the food, keep those guys employed, right?
It works.
Come pick up the food and deliver it to senior centers and homes for at-risk youth, and definitely hospitals. Our frontline heroes, as we all have known, nurses, doctors, anybody that's really taking care of people that have COVID and risking their lives in the hospital. So they all get a fresh, warm meal, no questions asked. It gets delivered. Um, and every day we do kind of a call to make sure how many. It's down to an actual specific number. How many in each of these partnerships need the food
Right.
exactly? How many you know how many nurses and doctors and service staff to the T, to the number, and we deliver that number. So every day there's a different number. Um, but we're trying to reach more people, and it's a worldwide um, mission from Jose Andres. He's definitely very inspirational to all of us. I don't know if you heard, but he's going to spend $1 million on buying food from restaurants in the district.
Oh, I think I heard that. I thought, and that's fabulous. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, he's reinvesting to keep his restaurants, to keep other restaurants open, so those restaurants have money for staff. Yeah, it's just amazing. My whole thing is, try to be as much as part of something that's bigger than you.
yeah,
Um, because if before I volunteered with World Central, I stayed home and I was working from home, and watching movies and kind of kicking it. And personally, I felt like it wasn't a good use of my time.
right.
So I needed to use my passion, as you mentioned earlier, for a greater good, and I had to get out of the house and serve people on the front line. So that's kind of what led me there.
Well, and I think that you're an excellent person to speak to, those people who might be watching who want to either get involved right now, but for whatever reason, maybe it's because, they're afraid of being around people and becoming infected, or, maybe they're
Mhm.
afraid of that physicality, or whether they can't do, something financially because they're struggling financially. Where should they start? Like they want to reach out, but they're having significant challenges of their own. So what would you recommend to them as a good place to start?
Yeah, believe it or not, I felt that way too. I was I didn't want to be around anybody.
No,
Uh,
it's
uh,
it's it's a struggle.
yeah, and it's real. The struggle is real. but I get it, and I didn't. There was other volunteer opportunities. I just didn't go and engage because I was a little bit concerned. But I felt the calling to go to World Central. I think everybody has a different calling, right? So
Right.
I, I think at minimum, for example, we're also partnered with one of our favorite nonprofits called DC Dream Center in DC. It's an at-risk youth program in Southeast.
Okay. Yep.
And actually, World Central Kitchen delivers there, right? So they get hot,
Okay.
kind of a crazy combination there because I'm working with both. But for DC Dream Center, you know, cleaning out your pantries and really, because we did that, we had like bags and bags of stuff we just never used and still have not expired. But if you're at home right now watching this video, I recommend just taking about 10-15 minutes, going into your pantries and getting unexpired goods, whether it's canned foods or whatnot. And we have people that can pick those up. Even myself, I can pick those up from the. You can leave it by the mailbox. You can leave it on your front porch, but you don't have to go anywhere to give. And certainly no one's asking for money at this time because we're all facing financial struggles of some kind. Whether you've been laid off, whether your business is not flourishing as much as it used to, obviously, or you're furloughed or whatnot. But there's certain things like that. And there's also people that are being creative and they're making masks for first
Right.
responders. They're sewing, they're getting bandanas, they're watching YouTube videos. I just want to challenge everybody out there to find something that's convenient for you to do, so you can be part of the initiative. Like we have kind of a war against COVID-19 going on right now, and we know in the end, good versus evil, good will always win. But we need everybody's help. So definitely, and if you have the means financially, for example, with DC Dream Center for $350, you can provide 100 meals for
Right.
them in one day. So there's some people like, you know what, I'm gonna get part of my tithing, or I'm gonna get part of my profits from my company to help the community. So there's certain ways, but I don't want people to feel overwhelmed
Yeah.
not to get involved because they feel like they have to do a grand gesture like make 10,000 meals. Believe me, you don't have to do anything on that level ever. It's just, I always challenge you to do what is the best you can do. What is the best? Can you go on social media and create a video and talk about your favorite charity and get people to like and comment and maybe donate $5? You don't have to leave your house for that. All you have to do is be very passionate about that cause and maybe explain why it's important to you, and people that care about you will contribute. So there's different things you can do. Be creative at home. Don't even have to leave the house.
Yeah, I think that I think we're finally getting to a point in the society where people are understanding that personal data and social media um, it, is quantifiable. It's marketable. There's real monetary value behind your personal data and your social media, and you can leverage that. Like you said, if all else fails, and you're like, you know what, I can't really spare food, I can't spare money, I can't spare things. Well, you're on the internet right now. And I'm sure you have a Facebook page, and I'm sure you have access to friends and family that perhaps are not in the same situation as you, that might be willing to give, a couple of dollars out there, or volunteer in their own cities, or pass along that information, because communication is valuable in this. I mean, it's always been valuable, but I think people right now are understanding the monetary value that communication can have.
Yeah.
So certainly there's that. But I really love, that you bring that up as well. I think that it's really important as people go forward that they find that passion.
Yeah.
And even if it's something as, you want to go share, but you want to share something unique, and you're already sharing pictures of the kids. Well, maybe the kids do nice little signs from home thanking the first responders,
Yeah.
and you do a nice video
Like
for the
that.
first, and something of that nature. People are doing all sorts of creative things, and they're like free apps, in computer programs right now that'll make you, you can put together all these like fantastically wacky videos. You could do a TikTok. I mean, all that
Right.
fun stuff. But one of the things that you and I have always often connected on is the incorporation of technology in what we do. And when you're working on, especially things on like Meant to Live, where you're establishing a better quality of life for the youth, has technology been something that you've really, pushed to incorporate, pushed to get into their lives? Or or at this point, are you kind of like, well, I'm just kind of getting them from a point where they have nothing to a point where they have at least shelter and food, and then we'll worry about like education and getting them into the modern world. So at what level are you kind of dealing with, the different people that you help?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, before COVID, definitely technology was a big part of connecting with the people and the kids and education and connecting them with teachers and stuff like that. But I think right now, it's when a pandemic hits, everybody gets hit. So it's not like you can go to a certain group of people that have not been hit. Everyone's been hit to a
Right.
certain degree. So you're right about, we're trying to maintain the basic fundamentals of life, the basic, food, clothing, clean water, especially in third world countries, um, and just keeping people healthy. Right now, it's about health.
Yeah.
Health is wealth. Keeping people healthy to weather the storm, so when they get out of it, they can flourish and get back to what they were doing. But yeah, for certain, yeah, everything else is taking a back seat. It's really about keeping people alive.
Yeah, it really is about keeping people alive. That's,
Right.
that's for sure. I mean, and talking about like keeping people healthy and keeping people sort of, just engaged. Have you found that you've, gone into some personal habits? Like, do you cook a lot at home? Have you increased your cooking at home? Or, are you doing like new things for yourself that you weren't doing pre-pandemic?
Yeah, I've increased cooking for my wife at home. That's fine.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No, I mean her cooking, not me.
Oh,
Um,
okay. All right.
He's gonna watch this and laugh because I don't cook. I've never cooked in my life.
Okay.
But I'm a cleaner, so she cooks and I clean. Everything's spotless. I got it
Okay. So
taken care
that's
of.
your contribution to the relationship. She makes
That,
the delicious food, you clean up after it.
that's been my whole life. But yeah, definitely, especially in marriage, great. She's a great cook. But I'm
Yeah.
very on top of the details with cleaning and keeping the place spotless. But what we've done differently, we live at the wharf, and
Right.
one, we try to support wharf restaurants.
Okay.
And one by one, they're falling off the grid. Unfortunately, I mean, a few weeks ago, you had 40 to 50 restaurants open for takeout.
Right.
Now you have like we walked there yesterday. It was like six. But so we just try to order meals from them and give taking care of them and just give them good tips and make them feel appreciated. And at the same time, we spend a lot of time walking. I'll tell you why. Because in DC, there's places like Haynes Point or the Washington Mall. Like there's nobody there. It's like acres of space.
It's
And
emptiness.
what's that?
It's just emptiness at this point.
It's empty, and it's DC is so gorgeous, and we always took it for granted, and we never seized the opportunity to appreciate it. And now when we get a chance to walk and in safety, we're so grateful. Like we can't believe like we're having this opportunity. But we also run stairs. We're at the fourth floor of our condo, so like every other day we try to run the stairs up and down.
All right.
A little exercise, but more careful when we go to grocery stores. Like we're hands and gloves people, and you know, it's you just try to adapt. And also virtual tours to our venues. That's something business wise we've been doing, and have actually gotten some bookings from that as well.
Yeah, that's a really interesting segue to get into. I mean, I know that we'll be wrapping the interview a little bit earlier than normal. Eddie has a prior commitment, but I do want to talk about the venues for a couple of minutes because there are so many people right now trying to do the virtual tours. And do you find that it's a particular trick? Like, what's been helpful for you to convince someone that's never been to Capital Turnaround to book it? Just from a video.
It's not easy. It's not. But I did a few things. I combined our launch party video, which was beautifully done by Suburban Video. Shout out. Plus, I just took my iPhone and I went all around the venue myself as quickly as I could because I knew people's attention spans were very limited, and did like a very rogue, version to the and me speaking to the client, and they found that to be very helpful. Like they felt like they
Yeah,
can see the space. 'Cause I went into every space and lights were on, and you know
perfect.
screens, and it felt like almost you were there. People told me that it felt like 90% they were there. Um,
Good.
yeah, and honestly, there's nothing like going to see the venue in person. Obviously, that's much better, but um, it definitely has helped close deals. And it's taking like extra phone calls with me and the client, and extra information, extra email, because these are the things usually are done in person. But nonetheless, the people that we're working with are people that are optimistic about 2021. So they know they want to get married in spring or fall of 2021.
Right.
And they're confident, as honestly as we are, that that will happen for them. What's in question right now is obviously summer and fall coming up. That's really what's in question. But
Right.
so the combination of people that are excited about the future. Also, there's one very important reason why they do it. When you're kind of like, you're in a relationship and you're going through COVID together, and you want to get married, like, and you see engagements all the time online, but there's it breathes life into the relationship when you come together and start planning for the future together. And
Right.
a wedding is a tangible celebration, as we all know. So we have a lot of hopeful people that are and like have faith and are very inspired, and they want to go forth and they want to plan something awesome because they know whatever this is, that's going to be 1,000,000% better. So combined with their passion
Yeah.
and their interest in going forward, plus us connecting them through the space, um, yeah, it's been working for us. But we do what we can, and virtual has changed the world now, and it will continue to do so.
We are forever changed, that's for sure. And so Eddie, of course, I want to be respectful of your time. And I do wrap up my interviews with one sort of final question. So the question is, we open up and everything's open and you can do whatever you want to do and go eat wherever you want to eat. Where are you going and what are you eating?
We have a trip planned to Dominican Republic. Yeah, in DR, we have it was a beautiful five-star resort, and it was actually like the week after COVID was announced, we were supposed to go on
Oh,
the trip.
oh,
So first thing we would like to do is go there and all inclusive and just live life and on the beach, and we have dreams and visions of that right now every day that keeps hope alive, keep hope alive. So I can't wait for that. What about you?
I mean, for me, I'm probably gonna hit up like a sushi restaurant because it's like that one food that I really can't produce, at home very well. So everything, a little deep dive into me, but everything I'm eating at home right now is pretty much vegan cooking, because of the type of cook that I am. So
Mm,
I think it's going to be like a seafood meal and like a massive seafood meal. I'm going to be yeah. I'm going to walk out of there and it's going to be every fish under the sea on my plate.
can't wait to see that.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be fun. And I was telling other people too that we were, there have been some really interesting restaurant suggestions. We might form sort of like a celebratory restaurant crawl
Nice.
at the end of this. So we'll definitely put that out there, to have people join us. But Eddie, thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed learning about, your passions and what you're up to right now. I hope people found inspiration from that. And I hope that people are out there and just find that they've had a little breath of life injected into them, just a little bit.
I hope so too. I love your show. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's really amazing that you're connecting with so many people and allowing people to share what they do and inspire others. So I feel very honored that you had me on your show, and I look forward to connecting with you in person sometime.
Absolutely. Well, sooner rather than later. Well,
Right.
we'll keep talking. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe. I am now on YouTube. That is a great way to help me out, is just by clicking that button. It's free to do. And I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks so much, Eddie.
See you, girl. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye bye.
Thanks.